Hey Eurovision fans, it's Tom coming to you from Bangkok and I'm back for another Eurovision analysis video. Malmö has been chosen as the host of Eurovision 2024. We're going to talk about all the details, why was it chosen, where's the competition going to be, and who could it potentially benefit. So let's kiki. So with Loreen winning Eurovision 2023 with her song Tattoo, SVT, the Swedish broadcaster, had first right of refusal to host Eurovision 2024, and of the 4 candidate cities, they have chosen Malmö to be the host of Eurovision 2024. This is the 68th edition of the contest, and it is the 7th time that we will be going to Sweden for Eurovision. Stockholm have hosted 3 times, Göteborg has hosted once, Malmö has hosted 3 times. And this is actually the 5th time in a row that we have a non-capital city hosting. So Tel Aviv, Rotterdam, Turin, Liverpool, and now Malmö. So I don't think this is a coincidence. I do think that Eurovision is trying to make it a little bit easier for broadcasters to host it. And also, I know that Martin Arsdal wants to keep it a little bit more smaller and low-key, so it's a little bit more manageable and easier to organize. So let's find out a little bit about Malmö. It has 350,000 people. It's in the south of Sweden, in Skåne, one of the southern provinces. It's very close to Copenhagen. You can get a train from Malmö to Copenhagen across a bridge, I think. It's around 20 minutes. I think it costs €13 one way. Someone's already sent me a picture advising me that I should stay in Copenhagen instead of Malmö. So why did Malmö win? Well, from what I've heard, it might have been the only option left. So Tobbe Ek, who works for Aftonbladet in Sweden, is one of the Swedish newspapers. I think he's their Eurovision correspondent. He went through all the reasons why with all the bids that were submitted. Now with Stockholm, we know that the problem was that the Avicii Arena is under renovations. The Globen Arena, as it was renamed Avicii Arena, which hosted in 2016, that's under renovation, so that was a no-go. And then Friends Arena, which recently has been hosting the final of Melody Festival, which is more like a big stadium, but it can have concerts. The resident football team, AFK, they were like, no, we're not giving up our season for you, because they do need the stadium for, I think, 6 weeks in total before the final actually happens. And then I think it's around between 3 to 7 days afterwards as well. Taylor Swift was also coming in to do a concert in Friends Arena the Saturday afterwards. So yeah, it just wasn't working for Stockholm. They suggested a temporary arena in Friesholmen, which is a port on the east of the city. But from what I've heard, SVT just didn't want to take the risk with something so unsure when there were more reliable options available. Göteborg, Gothenburg, unfortunately Scandinavium is a very old stadium. It's 50 years old, and the stadium isn't strong enough to hold the type of lighting rigging that Eurovision wants to have. They did suggest a solution for this, but apparently even with that solution for the light rigging, it's just a really old stadium. I think it's a little bit on the fugly side. There's also that aspect as well, because obviously Eurovision does want to portray kind of like modernity and being cool and stylish. I think in terms of whose turn is it, I think definitely it was Göteborg's turn. But unfortunately, they just don't have the arena requirements. I'm not sure if they're planning to build a new stadium there anytime soon. We did have another bid from Örnsköldsvik, which is a northern city. It has like 30,000 people, so the population of the Eurovision people would have been more than that of the town. It's very hard to get to. It's very far north. Look, I'm not sure if they did this for intention or if they really were hoping that circumstances will fall their way, but this would have been on a par with kind of like Mill Street in Ireland in '93. So with all the various flaws with those other options, basically Malmö was the safe option. The last time that they hosted was in 2013. It all went very, very well. They're keen. They've got an arena that has availability. They've got enough, well, kind of enough hotel rooms. I wouldn't say they have enough hotel rooms. Everything's already sold out, and literally like within 1 hour of the announcement, all hotels were completely sold out. So yeah, the accommodation situation wasn't perfect, but from what Tobias was saying, it almost reached a point where if Malmö couldn't host, they would have had to given it to second place, which would have been Finland, and it probably would have ended up being in Tampere. So it's kind of funny. I actually wonder how close did they actually get to it potentially having to give it up. I'm sure they just didn't want to do that because obviously Swedes are super proud about Eurovision and they would never want to relinquish it. It's just unfortunate those kind of like circumstances with Stockholm and Göteborg that they weren't able to host. But Malmö will be great, you know, it's got a great location. I'm excited about how close it is to Denmark. But anyway, before that, let's go and look at the official account on YouTube. Wanna know my secret bang? Oh, they're still sponsored by Moroccan Oil. That's Ooh. Damn, 75 looks awesome. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, that was cool. The costume ripped off. I think Sweden bring a really good sense of humor. Linda Martin winning. Damn, 2000. Denmark really like it when Sweden hosts. 2 of their 3 wins. And Stockholm was amazing. That was the first one I went to. Lorraine's gonna be pissed off because she wanted Stockholm. She was very vocal about wanting Stockholm. Ooh, it does look pretty. Maybe we can go swimming together. That reminds me as well about the dates. It's going to be the 7th, 9th and 11th of May. So that's pretty standard. We know that's usually the kind of second weekend of May. So nothing groundbreaking there. It's going to be held in the Malmö Arena, which is the same place as 2012. So the capacity for concerts is 15.5 thousand. But I know that they're going to have to block off some space for the green rooms and possibly for some other production elements as well. So I'd expect it to be a little bit less than that, maybe 13,500, maybe 14,000. Still one of the bigger stadiums compared to what we've had recently. In terms of accommodation, yeah, as I mentioned, like accommodation's already sold out. I didn't book an Airbnb because I've heard so many stories about people booking Airbnbs and then having them cancelled because the person wants to jack up the price. So I just didn't even bother this year. I'm just gonna wait and see. I ended up getting my accommodation a week before the contest last year. I hate the accommodation situation. Like my least favorite thing about Eurovision by far is accommodation. I hate it so much. It's such a stressful, tedious, risky process. You're booking accommodation when you don't even know if you've got tickets yet. The whole thing's very blah. So as I said, this is the 7th time that Sweden are hosting. Malmö's hosted twice before, and the winners of those contests were Ireland and Denmark. So there's 2 countries who definitely would like to turn their fortunes around. Hopefully they've got a little bit of luck in the air in Malmö. Obviously Ireland with a 4 non-qualification streak in a row right now, and Denmark with a 3 non-qualification streak. 2 of Denmark's 3 wins have been in Sweden, and also Norway won in Sweden as well. So definitely a lot of Scandinavian luck when Sweden hosts. I hope that this lights a little bit of a fire under Denmark in particular. I really do not think that Denmark wants to be so close to the host city, literally 20 minutes on a train, and not qualify again. I think this will hopefully light a bit of a fire under them. I think if it was in Stockholm, there would still be a fire because there's a rivalry between Sweden and Denmark. But the fact it's so close to home, hopefully the public get a little bit more involved this year and put a bit more pressure on DRK, I think is the name of the broadcaster, or DK, because Denmark's performance in recent years has just been so mediocre. Another interesting aspect as well is that last time it was in Malmö, Denmark and Norway were purposefully put in separate semi-finals because the organizers were aware that a lot of people were going to be coming from Denmark and Norway, and they didn't want to overload the city, so they put them in separate semis. Now that's very good news for Denmark because Norway qualify all the time. They are on a really hot streak right now. Since 2012, they've only non-qualified 1 time. That was Agneta in 2016, which funnily enough was in Sweden. So look, still, you don't want to be in Norway's semi-final. They've just got an incredible record. They've got a great system in place right now. They've got a lot of really great songwriters and artists who are trying to compete for the national final. You don't want to be in Norway's semi-final because they've taken a place. So that could be good news for Denmark, increases their chances just a teeny tiny bit being in a separate semi-final. So what do I think about Malmö hosting? I'm excited about the fact it's so close to Denmark because it does feel like you get to visit 2 countries in one holiday, which is kind of a cool experience. I haven't decided where I'm going to base myself yet. I might actually base myself in Copenhagen for the preceding time and then just the final week go to Malmö. If I can find somewhere, everything's sold out. Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I have to be honest, I would have liked if it was in Stockholm, but considering that they have this like temporary arena thing in a port and it just seemed a little bit messy, a bit risky. Yeah, I kind of already knew that Stockholm was quite unlikely.
I think Göteborg would have been cool as well, but again, they haven't sorted out this arena issue which they had last time and the time before, so nothing really changed there. So look, I think Malmö has the experience and what to do. At the end of the day, SVT are going to put on an amazing show no matter where it is, and I think there should be a good buzz in the city. I'm hoping that they can use the blueprint of Liverpool, which was so successful in terms of like activities and getting the whole city involved. I'm hoping they'll reuse that blueprint in Malmö, and Swedes really love Eurovision, so I think that there'll be a big buzz and atmosphere in Malmö while the competition is going on. So I think it's going to be great. I would just wish that the accommodation thing would be less nightmarish. It's such a freaking nightmare. Another potential advantage of Malmö hosting is that it possibly has a slightly cheaper cost of living. We know in general that capital cities tend to be the most expensive places to live in most countries. So Malmö, just being a slightly smaller city, it's the third biggest city in Sweden, might just be that little bit of cheaper. It might help out some of the delegations who've been struggling financially. Montenegro, Bulgaria, North Macedonia, 3 countries who left the competition last year because of financial reasons. So who knows, that like small difference in cost could potentially help bring those countries back. I have heard rumors about North Macedonia potentially coming back, but nothing official yet. So a couple of shout outs. Big love to Lena and Israela for supporting me on Buy Me a Coffee. I feel very caffeinated, thank you very much. And also thank you to Matthias M and Renata from eSpot Podcast for supporting me on PayPal. Thank you guys so much. If you want to support the channel and keep it going all the way right through to the start of the next season, I'll leave a couple of links in the description down below. As always though, thank you just so much for watching. Let me know what you think about Malmö hosting. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. If you like this analysis video and you want to see some more, I'll leave a couple of them for you here. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and thanks so much for watching. See you in another Eurovision analysis video very soon. Goodbye.